Well, we're sitting here today in the Emerald Isle Motel with Ed McCauley, and I'm Seamus Norgard. I work for the Beaver Island Historical Society, and it's July 3rd, 2009. And Ed, you came here to march in the parade, 4th of July parade, right?
Yes, that, and I'm doing some repair work on the Bob S. boat that the Historical Society has.
Oh, wonderful. Just to kind of get you in the family, your relations to Beaver Island. Now, you're a relative of Black Pete McCauley?
Yes, I'm a great-grandson.
Great-grandson, okay. Anything you know about him, or not that much? Or?
No, I didn't really know anything about him until 5 years ago that I came to the island and saw the picture down at the museum and inquired around, and then through Rod Ackerman, which is my cousin, a distant cousin, I found out that yes, we were related. That was my great-grandfather, and it's also Rod's great-grandfather.
Okay. We've got interviews going with Rod too, so we got your two cousins here.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about your grandfather, Ed McCauley.
Well, there again, I don't know too much about him because he drowned here in the bay in 1912, so that was long before I was born. I have no knowledge of him other than the fact that yes, he drowned. Well, he went through the dock. I have found in the latter years that he went through the dock, and when they found him the next morning, he was clutched to a piling, froze to death.
Oh,
so
boy.
he would have actually died of hypothermia, I presume, rather than drowning.
Now, is he the man who lived on High Island?
Yes, he was. Yeah,
And-
he had the family over on High Island, and there was 6 or 7 children. And so part of the story is that that night, when they came over and informed the widow that he was passed, he was gone, she related the story that his side of the bed was wet. It's kind of a ghostly story in a sense.
Oh,
And there was, it was like, I don't know how to explain it. Mm-hmm. There is no explanation as far as I'm concerned.
No.
But that's a tidbit that comes in there of what took place.
Where did you hear that, about that?
Here on the island. Well, no, I heard that from my dad from years back.
Okay, so there's...
And there was also something about goat tracks on the beach. There was no goats around.
Oh boy.
So there was kind of, I don't know whether it comes into the Irish part of it or what, but there was some kind of spooky situations there.
And that was how long after he died? Do you know that?
That was the night of the happening.
The night it happened, his side of the bed was wet.
Yeah.
Boy. He was a fisherman.
Yes. He was fishing. The name of his boat was the, I'll think of it.
Okay.
I'll come up with
We'll
it.
come back to that. Do you know if he was born on Beaver Island or High Island?
He was born here on Beaver Island.
Beaver Island.
See, Black Pete homesteaded out here on the south end. I say the south end, that end. Mm-hmm. That end.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, down at McCauley Bay, that was named for Black Pete. Other than that, I don't. And I've only got that information since I was here. There's several McCauley Road, McCauley Bay, McCauley Point, such as this. But there was 2 families of McCauleys here. There's Black Pete side, and then this other, they call it the brothers side. There was 5 brothers.
Yes.
And I think they all came off of Aramore Island, Donegal County, Ireland.
Did Black Pete come from Aaronmore too? Okay. So they're probably distant related at least.
Well, it's I want to think they were related, but there was a family feud like Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
You stay over there, we'll stay here. We don't claim you, you don't claim us. You know, I don't know.
Yes.
It's all in the shadows back there someplace.
Yes.
So.
Now you did know your grandfather, though.
No, he drowned in 1912. I wasn't born until 31.
Okay. So the stories you've got about him and life on High Island came through your dad, then?
Yeah.
What can you share some of those stories about life on High Island? And
Not really, because I can tell you, I can tell the world, Dad was a very horrible alcoholic.
mm-hmm.
He allowed us to be raised and lived in dire destitute, dysfunctional home. Mother took care of us the best she could. Dad was always off someplace in lumber camp, come home drunk. So we wasn't really a close family. I have the world of respect for him, my own self to him, because of the depression, of the times that it was and so on. It was tough. So we basically lived out of the woods, shoot deer, coon, porcupine, rabbits, partridge, whatever. Mother would she'd can anything that she'd get her hands on. Mason, don't forget the mason jar. And don't break one. So, yeah, Mother would can like 100 quarts of applesauce. I remember one winter, that's all we ate was pancakes and applesauce.
Wow.
And
Now this was over on the mainland, right?
yes, that was over at Wildwood.
Wildwood, okay. Now, is this the Wildwood that's up near Petoskey?
Yep.
East of Petoskey?
Yep, just south and west of Indian River.
Okay.
Right out in the middle of no place.
Okay. Before we get further with that story, which I really want to get to, you did relate the other day a little bit about that your grandfather knew the House of David folks.
House of David.
And you had some interesting stories. Was they come from your mom or dad?
They would have came from Dad.
Dad. Do you talk a little bit about those House of David folk and what?
Well, the only thing I know, let me clarify that it is hearsay.
Okay.
Because I wasn't there. But
Okay.
hearsay is that they were a ball club that had formed, or through the group that called themselves the House of David, which I think was a cult type group. And don't let the world quote me. But anyway, they formed this ball club, which was sort of like the Harlem Globetrotters. They were just spectacular on the field. They could beat any club out there.
Now you're talking about baseball, though.
Baseball, yep.
Okay.
Only they would stand there and guy would get all ready to sling the ball to the batter, and he would bring back like this, and he'd just bring right back over his shoulder, not looking. He knew where it was going. Boom, and throw that ball to second base or third base, wherever. And just, they was just spectacular of doing these little
Tricks.
amazing tricks to, and people didn't know what was happening. Now that's the story I have.
Okay.
And they went off of High Island to, where is it?
Garden or?
No, right down near Chicago.
Oh.
Okay, west or east of Chicago, come up around Benton Harbor.
Benton Harbor.
Is that
yes.
Benton Harbor
Yes.
down there?
Yes.
Okay, they went down to Benton Harbor. That's where they settled in down there.
Okay.
Now that's my side of it.
Sure.
But
Do you know anything about Anything more about that you heard about them? Or?
No, other than they were just a comical group.
Hmm.
And it was in that time of, like when the Mormons were here on the island. They were out there, whether they were part of them, a splinter of them or not. I don't know what the House of David people were, but they were a religious type gathering.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like to use the word cult because they may not have been a cult,
Mm-hmm.
but they were a gathering of people that was different.
Now, did you hear anything about your grandfather's fishing at all? Any stories about that?
No, other than the fact that Dad had fished when. See, Dad was born in 1900, so
Okay.
Dad would have been 12 years old when his dad died here.
And was your dad's also named Ed?
No, his name was Ural.
Ural.
Uriel.
Uriel.
Where it comes from, I have no idea. And that's my middle name.
Okay.
So I'm named after my grandfather, my dad.
And what's your mom's name then?
Was May Bell Williamson was her maiden name.
Maybelle Williamson. Where was she from?
Bel Air,
Bel Air. Okay.
which is just down here below Charlotte someplace.
And was Ural born on where?
There
was
again, there's controversy there. Not controversy, but lack of knowledge. I think he was born in Newberry,
Okay.
Luce County.
Okay.
Through his death records and so on. It seems to me that it shows up he was born in Newberry.
What brought him to Beaver Island, and when do you think?
Well, Grandpa was his commercial fishing, and he brought the family over and settled them on High Island,
Okay.
and then he fished out of the port here at St. James. And like I say, my knowledge of my family's past is almost nil
Mm-hmm.
because of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, your dad never brought you over to Beaver Island then?
Matter of fact, my dad never even took me to my grandmother, which remarried from here. She left the island then and went over to Sac Bay.
Oh.
And
Do you know her name?
her name was Mary, but it was EdMcCauley, but over there it was Green.
Oh.
We only knew her as Grandma Green. I met her one time in my uncle, my dad's brother, was in World War